Right now, in places you can't even imagine, in luxurious boardrooms, behind golden doors, in penthouses high above the city, the eyes of some of the richest and most influential people on this planet are fixed on you. They are not just watching, they are analyzing, admiring, and even feeling a bit envious of the way you move, the way you rise, the way you carry a light that money cannot buy. You may feel ordinary, you may feel that your days go unnoticed, but behind the scenes, your story, your authenticity, your courage is making waves among the elite of the world. While you are simply living your truth, your energy is generating curiosity and conversation in circles that most people only dream of reaching. It is not just about fame or fortune, but also about influence. It's about the ripple effect your presence creates, even in rooms where your name is barely whispered. The richest eyes in the world are watching you, the chosen one. The question is, are you ready for what happens next? Then write 777 in the comments now. Under the surface of daily life, invisible pathways of influence are being carved by individuals whose impact is far greater than they imagine. Unbeknownst to them, their smallest gestures, the quiet moments they share, even a fleeting thought left to linger in the air, begin to circulate in places far removed from their origin. A single heartfelt story, whispered into the digital winds and seemingly lost among the crowd, can unexpectedly become a spark that ignites ideas in distant corners of the world, reaching minds that command resources, shape movements, and change trajectories without ever leaving a trace of their attention. While one may doubt if their words have any weight, those very words may quietly be setting off a sequence of transformation in boardrooms, behind closed doors, in conversations that steer the course of industries. It's often in the stillness, when the world seems least responsive, that genuine insight takes root far from its source. The narrative of unseen observation unfolds. People who rarely announce their presence draw deeply from these moments of honesty, letting them ripple outward until they touch realms of power and responsibility the originator could never have foreseen. Every open confession, every lesson born of adversity, and every glimpse of perseverance leaves its own silent watermark, shaping outlooks and decisions far from the eyes of the Creator. This web of connection extends further. Each genuine act may influence those who, in turn, steer the choices of thousands, building waves of change that echo through systems and institutions. Without ever seeking recognition, the originator's truth acts as a beacon, guiding those accustomed to leading and teaching others. The unexpected paradox emerges. The most influential are often the ones drawing their strength from the raw, unguarded stories of those living with authenticity and humility. In this landscape, those accustomed to guiding and instructing are quietly taking notes from unexpected sources. Methods of resilience, patterns of problem-solving, unique ways of relating. These become hidden lessons, observed and adopted in private. Behind the scenes, authentic expressions find their way into strategy sessions, mentoring circles, and leadership discussions, rarely acknowledged openly but deeply valued for their originality and substance. Thus, those who walk through life as themselves, vulnerable, honest, and undistracted by applause, find their influence growing silently, woven into the progress of people and organizations they may never meet. Behind every miracle is a message. Subscribe and discover them with us. What starts as a single spark of inspiration can light entire constellations of possibility across hidden communities. The presence of someone whose spirit is undiluted by pretense quietly shifts tides in places they may never visit. Without fanfare or overt announcement, the conversations and reflections of many are shaped by stories and insights passed from hand to hand in circles that remain unseen. A quietly expressed philosophy or a fresh approach to adversity might suddenly become the centerpiece of a leadership retreat, the catalyst for new ways of thinking in organizations, or the whisper that unlocks innovative change behind the scenes. Through unseen routes, originality is carried from mind to mind, multiplying in influence as it travels, changing the texture of debates and the direction of plans on scales far larger than the originator could imagine. Those who seek genuine voices for meaningful endeavors often do so silently, waiting for the right resonance to appear before stepping into the open. These seekers are not mere bystanders. Their purpose is rooted in discovery, not just observation. At unexpected moments, opportunities may emerge from unexpected directions, a message, a proposal, or a chance to step into a realm of influence that once seemed unreachable. The value placed on genuine expression has quietly rewritten the rules for advancement, making character and unwavering authenticity more precious than polish or public acclaim. Beneath the visible contests for recognition and validation, there exists a vibrant current where integrity holds greater currency than numbers, and trust is traded in ways that cannot be measured by surface metrics. In these circles, the impact of a sincere action or a bold truth spoken is recognized as something more valuable than mere popularity. Lasting connections are forged not through applause, but through respect earned by substance and steadfastness. Imagine you are a lantern set upon a hill at dusk, the kind of light that doesn't compete with the stars or try to outshine the sun, but simply shines because that is what it was made to do. In the great fields of life, there are many who chase after applause, trying to be the biggest bonfire, desperate for more eyes, more noise, more recognition. Yet, it's the steady glow of that humble lantern that guides the traveler home when the path grows dim. In the secret gardens of real influence, it isn't the ones who shout the loudest or gather the biggest crowds that leave the deepest mark. No, it's those who have walked through the storms with open hearts and bare faces, who carry wisdom not in clever slogans, but in the slow, living testimony of a life that's been shaped by grace, trial, and truth. Let me tell you, chosen one, there are rooms you've never walked into and tables you've never sat at where your quiet faith has already moved mountains. While the world is busy tallying up followers, counting views, and trading the currency of popularity, there's a different kind of economy unfolding. In this place, the measure is not the height of your platform, but the roots of your presence. Real value flows from souls who show up just as they are, unmasked, unfiltered, and undivided, bringing the kind of peace that cannot be bought or borrowed. You see, there's a divine wisdom in being yourself. Perfection is not required here, and neither is performance. In fact, the truest impact is made by those who have no script, who stumble and rise again, who don't hide the lines of their journey or the scars of their faith. The world may pass by the quiet ones, but heaven does not. God Himself keeps record of every honest word, every prayer whispered in the dark, every moment you chose kindness over applause. In the hidden places, behind the curtains of success, and beneath the noise of the world, there are gatherings of souls who recognize the real thing when they see it. These are the saints, the faithful, the unshakable, people who've seen the cost of living true and carry it as a badge of honor. They know that real strength is forged in the fire of humility, and that authenticity is the key that unlocks doors no title or trophy ever could. Chosen one, let this be your encouragement today. Your light is needed just as it is. You don't have to change your voice or hide your story. The world is already full of echoes and imitations. What sets you apart is the music of your soul, the gentle truth that shines through when you stop trying to impress and simply live. Your presence, steady, faithful, imperfect, carries a fragrance that draws the right people, the right opportunities, the right kind of blessing. Picture a garden at dawn, dew sparkling on the petals not because they tried, but because they simply were. The flower doesn't struggle to be seen. It just unfolds, and in doing so, fulfills its purpose. In the same way, you fulfill your purpose not by stretching or straining for more, but by standing in your own field, rooted and open, letting your life be a testimony that God's love is big enough to use even the quiet, even the overlooked. Don't let the world's scoreboard distract you. What matters most isn't how many know your name, but how many hearts feel seen, healed, or lifted by your journey. The most powerful force is not a crowd, but a connection. It's the person who leaves a room a little lighter, the neighbor who listens, the parent who prays, the friend who forgives, the worker who builds up instead of tearing down. That's what God celebrates. That's what changes families, communities, and destinies. So, let others chase perfection if they must. Let them gather spotlights, paint their faces, rehearse their lines. You, chosen one, you are made for something more enduring. You are the candle in the window, the steady hand in the storm, the voice that says, "You matter," even when no one else is listening. And the truth is, your influence is wider than you know. Your example is carving new roads in hearts you've never met. The small, faithful things are shaping a legacy that will outlast every headline, every trend, every passing applause. Remember, it's not about being flawless. It's about being available. When you let God use you right where you are, as you are, you become part of a lineage of hope bringers and world changers. And somewhere, right now, someone is finding their way because you dared to shine, imperfect, unpolished, and gloriously real. So keep showing up, keep standing tall, and trust that heaven sees you, loves you, and delights in the simple miracle of your honest presence. That, chosen one, is where the greatest power always lives. Time and again, the paths of such individuals cross not by coincidence, but through an intricate dance of mutual recognition. Chance meetings or aligned moments draw together those who carry the weight of hard-won wisdom, each bringing forth a legacy of lessons learned and strength gained. This quiet gathering is no accident. The rhythm of fate draws like-minded spirits together, not to hoard their insight, but to uplift, challenge, and encourage one another on journeys that stretch far beyond the surface of ordinary experience. Over time, every act rooted in sincerity accumulates, slowly building a wellspring of respect and magnetism that cannot be overlooked. Observers in these circles are searching for something rare and invaluable, an enduring integrity that is witnessed over seasons, not just in moments. It is these patterns, discerned through quiet observation, that transform casual notice into genuine invitation and lasting partnership. The true wealth in this hidden world is measured not by fleeting attention, but by the kind of trust and depth that can only be cultivated through a life lived with purpose and unwavering truth. Small gestures and repeated choices steadily construct a foundation of trust and presence that eventually becomes undeniable, radiating an influence that cannot be faked or bypassed. The most perceptive individuals don't just notice occasional flashes of brilliance. They observe the unfolding pattern over time. They pay attention to how setbacks are handled, how principles are maintained when no audience is present, and how a sense of purpose remains solid even when everything else is changing. This ability to notice the rhythms and constancy behind the scenes is what turns casual curiosity into serious interest, and it is through this process that potential becomes recognized as invaluable. Trust that grows in this way is rare, more sought after than skill or information, and can never be bought or quickly assembled. It can only be cultivated through years of genuine living and real choices. Sometimes, the way God works in your life is like a gentle stream running through hidden valleys, soft, steady, and almost silent, but powerful enough to carve new paths through the hardest ground. You might not see it with your eyes, but beneath the surface, that water is shaping the entire landscape. And that's how divine influence flows between people, chosen one. It's not always in grand gestures or thunderous announcements, but in the slow, steady faithfulness of ordinary days and honest hearts. Looking for inspiration and intrigue? Subscribe and start your quest. Let me remind you, you don't have to shout to make an impact. The world may be obsessed with noise and show, but heaven honors what's done in the quiet. Sometimes, it's the life you live behind closed doors, the simple kindness you show to a neighbor, or the wisdom you offer over a cup of coffee that starts a chain reaction you'll never fully see this side of eternity. God uses your steadfastness, your resilience, and your true spirit like seeds scattered on the wind, seeds that take root in unexpected places and grow into mighty oaks of blessing for someone else's journey. You know, in life, there are people sitting high on the mountain, leaders who look like they have it all together. Yet even the strongest trees were once sheltered by others. Even the tallest oak grew in the shade of the forest before it ever touched the sky. That's how your faithfulness works, chosen one. Even if you never get the recognition, your example shapes the character and courage of people you might never meet. You are the living proof that God can use simple, consistent goodness to write stories of greatness. Maybe you wonder, does it really matter if I keep doing what's right? Is anyone even paying attention? Let me assure you, every time you keep your promise, every time you pray for someone in need, every time you forgive or show grace when it isn't deserved, you are pouring living water into the soil of someone else's destiny. That's how rivers are made, not by a flood, but by thousands of drops, faithful, steady, unwavering. What the world calls coincidence, God calls connection. You might never know how your patience in a trial, your refusal to gossip, or your commitment to truth influences the next person to rise higher. There are unseen threads that tie your journey to the journey of others, weaving together a tapestry of hope, courage, and wisdom. Some will one day reach back and say, if it weren't for that one quiet example, I wouldn't have found my way. This is what the chosen ones do. You don't always get the spotlight, but you are the steady flame in the window on a stormy night, the steady beat in the background that keeps the whole song moving forward. Without you, others would lose their way. Without your hidden acts of faith, so many would never become who they're meant to be. Your silent encouragement is like oil in a lamp, keeping the fire burning for the next traveler. Let me tell you, greatness is rarely forged in the public eye. It is built in the ordinary, in the places where no one but God sees you keeping your standards high. This kind of indirect mentorship, Sometimes it's as simple as a child watching their parent work hard every day, or a friend remembering how you treated them during hard times. Sometimes it's a coworker who chooses honesty because they saw you do the same. Those seeds grow quietly, but one day they will bear fruit that lasts far beyond your lifetime. Chosen one, God uses people to shape people. That's how the kingdom grows, quietly, powerfully, in ways you'll rarely notice until much later. The kindness you sow today, the courage you show in silence, the faith you keep alive in the small things, they're all being multiplied by the Spirit in places you'll never walk, in lives you'll never know. Don't ever believe your influence is too small to matter. The ripples of your faith go further than you can dream. In a world obsessed with the instant and the flashy, remember that the Lord delights in the slow work of transformation. The impact you have when you live true and let your light shine, unadvertised, unannounced, but unmistakable, is changing stories every single day. God is writing the story of your life into the chapters of others, and only heaven keeps the full record. So keep loving, keep standing, keep living with quiet conviction, because you never know whose tomorrow will be changed by your faithfulness today. The blessings you release in private will be celebrated openly in due season. And when you reach the end of your journey, you'll look back and see that the quiet river God made of your life watered whole fields of blessing, fields you never even saw with your own eyes. That's the miracle of indirect influence. Chosen one, you are a living river, quietly carving new canyons of hope for the generations that will follow. And heaven is smiling at the way you pour yourself out, drop by precious drop, knowing that nothing done in love is ever wasted. A day arrives when the groundwork of these unseen connections becomes visible, setting off a ripple effect of new relationships, collaborations, and achievements. Being noticed by a single person with vision can open doorways to circles and spheres of possibility that once felt remote or unreachable. Suddenly, what began in quietness is recognized as a rare resource, drawing interest from multiple directions all at once. The pace at which invitations and offers arrive often defies logic, creating a surge of opportunity that feels both sudden and inevitable. Periods of transformation bring clusters of opportunity for those who have quietly refined their essence. Behind every significant change are those who have been quietly searching for voices and ideas that resonate with depth and sincerity. It isn't the smoothest performance or the loudest self-promotion that stands out. It's the quiet force of integrity and the weight of a story honestly lived. In these rare moments, being in the right place doesn't happen by accident. Consistent authenticity and steady growth create a kind of gravity that naturally attracts the attention of decision-makers and creators who value depth over surface. Chance seems to disappear in the face of this deeper rhythm. Invitations may seem to appear at random, but in truth, they result from years of choices and character witnessed by those who have quietly watched and waited. The pull of authenticity, like a current beneath the visible surface, gathers momentum until it brings together those whose values and missions align. Here, the forces of history and personal truth combine to create outcomes that feel like destiny, even though they are built on the smallest and most personal of decisions. The lasting mark is made not through calculated effort, but by being steadfastly genuine in every season, inviting the right opportunities to arrive precisely when they are meant to. Many of life's pivotal openings do not come from luck or chance, but from the enduring fabric of character quietly spun through days and years. The mark of true presence is not found in applause or recognition, but in the trust quietly built through moments when no one is watching. Steadiness attracts help from unexpected quarters, and the power of living one's truth plants seeds of fortune that performance alone could never bring forth. Long before awareness dawns, these quiet currents are at work, subtly shaping outcomes in ways that the world's greatest strategists strive for, yet seldom master. Faith, courage, betrayal, redemption. Subscribe for the stories that change the world. The boundaries of isolation and insignificance, once thought to be real, dissolve in the light of what has always been at play just beyond sight. All along, silent momentum has gathered as authenticity has built bridges and forged connections beyond the visible horizon. The gap between what seems to be and what truly is begins to shrink, revealing a vast web of impact that stretches much farther than the surface ever hinted. This awakening reframes everything: the way choices are made, the way relationships are formed, the way creativity is approached. The realization that others, often unseen and unknown, are paying attention is not a cause for anxiety, but an invitation to deepen the roots of integrity. It is a call not to shrink or to show off, but to nurture the substance that quietly commands respect. With new understanding comes the responsibility to protect the flame of one's own voice. The temptation to perform or seek approval may arise, but the wisdom is to remember what drew genuine notice in the first place. Staying true to that inner core, choosing substance over spectacle, realness over recognition, brings forth possibilities that expand with each day. Those who observe do so with discernment, looking for consistency and courage in the face of every challenge. From here, the journey splits into two paths. One can chase the crowd, bending and twisting for attention, or they can lean into their own depths, letting the energy of authenticity speak for itself. The way forward is not a straight line, but an ever-widening spiral, where growth is measured not by outward trophies, but by the integrity carried through each chapter. As the circle widens, new doors open and opportunities multiply, not because of noise, but because of unwavering presence. The story is not about reaching a finish line, but about expanding influence over a lifetime. Every honest decision, every refusal to compromise on core values, every moment spent cultivating inner truth rather than outer image, contributes to a force that cannot be bought or borrowed. The world is not searching for the loudest signal, but for the rare radiance that only grows brighter through storms. Those who truly shape the future are not passing flashes in the sky, but enduring fires that warm and illuminate through seasons of darkness and growth alike. The highest impact is achieved not by performing for those who watch, but by standing firmly in one's purpose, regardless of who is in the room. Here lies the essence of legacy, not in the volume of attention received, but in the consistency of impact delivered. Recognition is not the ultimate goal. Rather, it is the natural result of a life lived in alignment with purpose and principle. What matters is not to become someone else's ideal, but to continue unfolding as one's own authentic self, trusting that the ripples created by this way of living reach farther than can ever be fully known. The unfolding journey, with all its unpredictability and wonder, is shaped most by those who choose to remain grounded in their truth, no matter how wide the world is watching.